This is Main Street with Gary Allen. Now, here's Gary.
And hello, everybody, and welcome back to this episode of Main Street. Gary Allen with you. We have a very good show for you this afternoon. We have a couple of lovely guests on from Dining Divas and Destination Divas. But first, I just want to say thanks to the Japanese Gardens of South Florida, as well as the Elks Lodges of South Florida, for their continued support of this particular program. We've got some interesting guests coming up over the next couple of weeks. I was on the phone today with two very interesting gentlemen, two friends of mine from way back that will probably be joining us sometime in April when they get through with their tour in April. At the beginning of April, they'll probably be on about the middle of April. I will keep that a secret, but let's put it this way. Mary Joanna has something to do with their careers. And, so we'll figure it out from there, and I will let you know what's going on. My guests this afternoon are two very lovely young ladies. One is Christine Curran. She is the host, founder of Dining Divas, Destination Divas, Empowering Women. And her guest with her is Tamara, another lovely young lady. So without further ado, would you please welcome from Dining Divas, Destination Divas, and a lot of other entities, would you please welcome Christine Curran?
Hey, Gary, how are you?
I'm doing fine. You and Tamara, good to see you. Great smiles. I love it. What was I know that you got started in the business right out of college, and whoever introduced you to the business, have you hunt them down to shoot them yet? Because this is a crazy business. As you know, this is a crazy business. In all my years in Los Angeles, I saw people come and go faster than you could drink a glass of water. Beautiful young men, beautiful young ladies, but they just didn't have any talent. They just were going on their beauty. What was it for you that decided, hey, this is what I want to do. This is where I want to go. This is the road I wish to take.
I think it was a day I was sitting in college class and I was going, I know I'm really smart, but I don't know what I'm going to do with this when I get out. And I was like, I have no passion for any of the stuff I'm learning. And I did go to school for marketing. So obviously I definitely use that now.
Right.
But just trying to figure out where and what direction I wanted to go in. And right when I got out of college, I was back when Craigslist wasn't scary. I was making really good money doing modeling jobs and gigs and commercials and stuff off there. And then it was actually 2008, 2009 when the economy kind of took a crash, and I had just started working for a magazine, and I was just like, you know what, I'm going to go full speed ahead with modeling because I'm making more money there. And it just kind of snowballed into all the things I've done.
Well, 2008, 2000. I remember I was living in Las Vegas at the time, and Steve Wynn did my career in by not having any more opening acts at his hotel. So when Engelbert would perform there, he couldn't bring me in, even though he would pay me out of his own pocket. But, they stopped doing that along the way. When did the idea for Dining Divas, because I believe that is your first company that you came up with, when did the idea for that spawn from?
Well, no, my first company was Fort Lickerdale Entertainment. So I started that. I had that for 13 years. And I booked over 800 models for fashion shows, music videos, TV shows, all the fun stuff. And the Jello Shot Girls, that was what I was really well known for.
Is that the one with the bus that's all kind of Oh, we have a picture of that. Tommy, would you put that picture up, please? I love this picture. I love this picture.
We had a lot of good memories on that bus.
Yeah. Is it no, they're in their full formal. No, the one with the crazy bus. Buses or bus, I guess. Is it still an entity that's still going on to this day?
No, that was in my 20s and into my early 30s. But now I've been doing Dining Divas for 5 years. So I think kind of overlapped at one point, and then I just diffused that company because we were really taking off with this one. So, and I had more passion now for doing TV production.
All right, Tamara.
Yes.
What does it take to be a dining diva?
It takes a couple of things. One is you got to be a foodie, right? You got to take food seriously. Two is
that leaves me out.
We take food very seriously. The other thing is we're all entrepreneurs in our own right. We're all doing
Mhm.
really amazing things, totally outside of the show. And so I think it's that energy of us, being able to work by ourselves as powerhouses, and then also work within the show. Um,
Mhm.
and so it's a couple of things. Christine is a really good diva picker. I will say that.
That leads me to my next question. What does it take to be a diva? I mean, I look good in heels and I'm a foodie, but the kind of foodie that you're thinking of and what I'm thinking of are probably two different worlds.
Well, we're really all into self-development and trying to better ourselves and elevate together. So collaboration mindset. There's a lot of TV shows out there right now that paint women in a negative way.
Yeah.
And when you put women together on shows, it's all about catfighting. And we just don't want to, we want to kind of repurpose the women together on TV as a positive impact, and make a difference. And so we're a diverse cast of women from all different ethnicities and backgrounds, and we come together over food, fun, and travel, and support each other
Okay.
in our endeavors.
Yeah. See, now my idea of a foodie. There's the bus.
There's the
Buses. What?
bus.
There they are. There. You know what that reminds me of? The Partridge Family thing. In a way. And it does. I'm guess. Well, I'm 71. I freely admit my age. I'm not the least bit afraid to say how old I am, although I look every inch of it, and some mornings I feel every inch of it.
I don't know.
Um, Now, my idea of a foodie, to me, I'll go get a pizza. I mean, listen, I've been to some. Obviously, if I'm opening for Engelbert or Tom Jones, I'm eating at some very stylish restaurants around the world in the United States, and I've had all kind of. I'll never forget when Nouvelle Cuisine came along. My wife and I went to a restaurant in Beverly Hills. We were invited to a anniversary party, and I looked down at the plate, and it was the main course. I looked down and I said, "Grace, that's the appetizer, right?" She said, "No, honey, that's the main course." I said, "We're going to Fat Burgers after this." You know. And have you girls ever been to Fat Burgers?
I
No,
have.
but you have.
Yeah.
I like burgers.
Well, take tomorrow when you're out in Los Angeles, I presume you're going,
Yeah.
take her to Fat Burgers.
Yes.
It is an experience that you will eh, it's it's hard to put into words, but you'll thank me for it later. Tomorrow we'll tell you it's a wonderful. There's great places to eat out there, not just the expensive restaurants in Beverly Hills, but some other fast food, out of the way joints, Mexican places that they're just fabulous. Over by what the CBS studios used to be, where I used to go in when I would do some stuff on The Young and the Restless. There's a Mexican restaurant there. Or tomorrow, did you ever get to go to Pink's?
No, I don't think
On
I
La
have.
Brea Boulevard, right off of Beverly, there's a hot dog stand called
I have.
Pink's.
Yes, I have. Yep.
I'm
Okay.
hungry, Gary.
I
Stop
know,
talking
right?
about food.
Well, we're going to talk about food, and this is a true story. This is a true story. It was 2 o'clock in the morning. I had just finished. Uh, was Hill Street Blues. I just finished a night thing on Hill Street Blues. I was hungry. I knew Pink's was open. It's open 24/7. I go in, I grab a couple of hot dogs. This is before they got to be as big as they are now. I go in and I go to sit down and thing, and who's sitting at a table over there but the entire cast from the Carol Burnett show.
Oh,
And
wow.
they all invited me over to sit with them. But you got to go to Pink's. Christina, you got to go take the ladies to Pink's. It's an experience. LA is an experience and a half. It truly, truly is. Um, when you first got started with Dining Divas, how much hard work? Because nothing happens without sweat equity, hard work, pounding the pavement, on the phones. And marketing is what, 85, 90% of the
Oh
business, getting
man.
yourself out there. Talk about that for somebody who will be listening, watching this program, what it took for you to get where you are successfully with Dining Divas before you branched out into some of the other things you're doing.
Sure. Yeah, it was rough. It was rough. I remember I thought with, my reputation and being in the entertainment industry for, at that point well over a decade in South Florida, that it would be a lot easier for me to get
Yeah.
these restaurants going. I was out 12-hour days knocking on doors, like setting appointments, just begging people to, like, pretty much, I'm just like, you got to do this with me. And I finally got my first sponsor. It was like $1,500. And I shot actually the first segment at Be Ocean resort at the Naked Crab and the Mermaid Bar, the Rec Bar. It was a beautiful segment. But I can imagine from $1,500 and now we're, closing $30,000 deals, right? It's just a whole
Yeah.
different ball
Oh,
game. But it was a lot of work. I mean, it took me 4 months of nonstop, like just pounding the pavement to get that first $1,500. You can
yeah.
imagine I
Yeah.
had a lot of crying days. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. But
Yeah.
it's just when you're first starting any new project, it can be difficult, especially that was a newer industry for me. Like, I've done everything in the entertainment business, but I had a show on the mic, Christine Curran on the mic, where I interviewed celebrities. I had done VIP TV for 6 years. I've done quite a few shows where I was hosting like interview style with a microphone, red carpets
Hmm.
and stuff. But this was a whole different project. This is
Hmm.
reality TV style. And it was a concept. And so you had to get people to invest in your concept. Your idea is not always easy, but we got it done and we trucked through and and here we are.
From everything I've heard about you, and that Sharon, my friend, who's married to the famous photographer,
Mhm.
Sharon, I always forget Sharon's last name. I always
Matthew.
forget it. Matthews. Yeah, there you go. From everything I heard about you from her, you are a dedicated, hardworking. You have something inside here, and that's what I think is a success in businesses. And tomorrow, I think you'll agree. No matter what business you go into, if you don't have it in here, in your soul, and something you truly believe in, even though you'll have those days when forget it, it's not working, you're not going to last. I mean, it's like being a young actor. If you don't believe in yourself 24/7, it's not a 9 to 5 job. It's a 24/7 job. This crazy business. It truly is.
Absolutely. It still is, even 5 years later. It's
Yeah.
all day,
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
day.
Did it discourage ever come into it to a point where you were going to quit, or did you just say, no, I'm going to forge through this. This is who I am, and this is what it's going to be, and I can see light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, no, I don't ever quit. That's one thing about me. It's not happening. I'll figure it out. I'm a problem solver. So I'm like, this isn't working. What's another way I can go? Right? Where's the path of
Hmm.
least resistance? A
Hmm.
lot of pivoting. Like that's the most important thing in business. When something's not working, you pivot. And I mean, trust me, my family at some point was like, hey, why don't you just get a normal job? I'm like, I'm not normal. Like I've never had a job. Why am I going to start now 18 years into, being an entrepreneur? It just doesn't make sense for me. And I think that you have to go through all the ups and downs before can appreciate and really, I did really well with my first company. My first company was very successful from the get-go. It was great. And so,
Yeah.
but this is a project that requires a lot of money up front. And then you see you reap the benefits in the back end, right? So
Yeah.
the first couple of years were just really, really, really tough. But we pounded through it and trucked through it, and we're coming out on the other side now because we're doing, a lot of great things, and we're really moving. 2024 has been incredible already. So, and so was
Yeah.
2023. It was really great.
2023 for a lot of people that I know wasn't a great year, including me. It was just a kind of an off year, but 2024 so far is starting out pretty good. It's moving
Yeah.
along nicely. I mean, and I learned that early in the business. But as I said, I had an uncle who was on the beach for years as a comedian. I grew up with a woman who was a casting director. She cast me in a lot of Tony Rome movies as an extra starting off. I started off working with the crew. I mean, I learned this business from the bottom up, and yet it wasn't the business that I wanted to be in. It just happened. Where I wanted to be was what my father did, and he was a captain for Eastern Airlines. But unfortunately, after I came out of Vietnam, my eyes started to deteriorate, and that was the end of that, doing any flying commercially. Besides, I can't see myself up front of an commercial airliner anyway, to tell you the truth. And that's when I started getting
You're
involved
getting
in
on the mic
video.
and making jokes to all the passengers.
Here's the funny thing. I went and interviewed with Eastern Airlines to be a flight attendant back when they were hiring men, when they were first getting back hiring men. I interviewed with National, Eastern, TWA, and American, and they all turned me down. And Eastern turned me down because they said I didn't have a personality for it. I was but
That's
the truth of
funny.
the well, the truth of the matter was when my father stormed into the personnel office, which is right there on 36th Street, which used to be the old Miami International Airport back in the day. And the woman who interviewed me knew him very well. She was an ex-flight attendant. She said, I love Gary. I've known him since he was a kid. It's not that Gary doesn't have the personality. It's just he's a man's man. And we're looking for something a little less than a man's man. and she couldn't say what was really on her mind. She finally called my mother and told my mother, "Would you tell him we're looking for men that are a little more on the feminine side of life? Not necessarily gay, but on the feminine side of life." And I am not one of those. I'm telling you that right now. So, but I got a job on a cruise ship for 2.5 years, and I had a time of my life on the old Emerald Seas. Tamara, when did you meet Christine, and what was it about being a diva that attracted you above all?
Well, I have a funny story. It sounds really stalkerish. I was following Christine for a few years on social media, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm a foodie. I love pretty much everything food related. So chefs and restaurants, you name it, I'm all over it, right?
Okay.
Um, I could see that she was from South Florida and what she was doing. And throughout
Hmm.
the years, I just kept watching her grow and progress. And I was like, that is so cool. What a cool thing that she's created for herself. And it's around food. So I'm like, that's fantastic. So she posted on Instagram that they were doing a mastermind cruise in St. Lucia. And I'm a realtor. I own a vacation rental management company. And I looked at it and immediately I was probably one of the first people to contact her because I was like, right away, I want to be there. She had a couple of spaces open for people that wanted to sponsor themselves to come on the show. And there were so many reasons why I needed to be there as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. That was a fraction of the cost to get myself on national TV than if I try to figure it out myself, right?
Right.
And put the
Right.
whole thing together myself. But not only do I get to be on national TV, I get to finally meet Christine. I get to be a part of her show. I get to travel to St. Lucia. There was so many win-win-win, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I got to St. Lucia and we met, but because she was so busy, we didn't really get to interact a lot. Um, but I immediately got it. I got the concept. I understood how the show worked, and I said, uh, why don't I introduce you to a couple of people within my network? And then that turned into, okay, I have more meetings set up. Okay, I have more meetings set up, and so and it was a selfless thing. That's how I move. That's just how I am in general. She's a good person. I support what she's doing. I love her hard work, her dedication, her creativity. And so if I could help, let me help. And so that's how it started. And
Mhm.
I forget how far along we were into things. And she's like, "Hey, do you want to be one of the divas on my shows?" And I was like, "Heck yeah, of course I do."
Yeah. Okay.
I was like,
So
she gets it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
No.
it turned out that I actually, got to participate in both Dining Divas and Destination Divas. And so fast forward to today, I'm helping to put all of those things together. So I help
Mhm.
with not only hosting, but actually producing and bringing in different sponsors and different business partners. And so I am like, if I'm sleeping, don't wake me. If this is a dream, don't wake me up because I get to combine all the things that I love,
Mhm.
food, travel, real estate, helping other people. I get to combine all those things into what I do every single day. So it's not really like work. It's a lot of fun being a diva to me.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, and the travel isn't too bad. I know because again, having my dad who he was, and I traveled a lot as an entertainer and stuff. But after a while, the travel was getting to me anyway. As I was getting a little bit older, you're both very young ladies and stuff like that. Christine, let's talk a little bit about your time hosting shows. Now, I know what it was like for me to begin when I was just answering phones for Larry King at IOD when they were on 79th Street. um, I know what it's like. How long did it take you to get comfortable with who you were behind a microphone as compared to who you were just Christine out in the world?
Oh yeah, I mean it's totally different. I remember I watched my first segment I did and I talked so fast like and I was just all over the place just so like, just a lot of energy but just not I needed to like really zone in on things. So I watched a lot of my videos and I was like I don't like the way I moved here. I don't like the way that I talked here. I don't like the way that and so I just trained myself like all of my co-hosts that I worked with were professionally trained. They went to college for broadcasting. I was the only wild card that wasn't trained, but I ended up being one of the best interviewers because I spent all my time learning and I spent all my time watching and then trying something different until I felt really confident and comfortable in what I was doing. And now I've been on TV for gosh knows, 15 years. So
Mhm.
now it's just second nature, right? But I get to teach all these other women who've never been on TV that are all entrepreneurial women. I get to help them, do something that I think everybody wants to do. Everybody at some point dreamt about being on TV, right? So it's
Yeah.
really cool to be able to help them get comfortable in front of the camera and watch them grow, just like I did. So
Yeah. Yeah. It was a joy for me to intern for Larry. It was also a joy for me to be around the broadcasters in Miami at the time that I was when it was the golden age of real broadcasters compared to what's going on now, when talk radio was fun, not the political vent, whether it be left or right. And I got to learn. Plus, I started out after WIOD, I started out at a small radio station in Fort Lauderdale, and I got to learn. I got to make my accidents as they happened, and I got to take coaching from Larry and everything. And 'cause sometimes he'd have me on with him at 3 o'clock in the morning when there wasn't much of anything else going on, because we were on from 12 at night till 6 o'clock in the morning. And and I got to grow, and show business helped me grow, and being around that helped me grow. But it is interesting when you see people for the first time. Oh, I want to be on camera. I want to be on camera. Or I could be a stand-up comic. I could be a stand-up comic. Oh, really? Oh, you're telling great jokes at the bar now. Stand up there with a spotlight on you and people looking at you going, all right,
change
make
the
me
whole
laugh.
game.
Whole different
Make
ballgame.
me laugh, make me laugh. And boy, they can smell fear in you right away. Talk about some of the other ladies that are part of the Dining Divas, because as you said, you are a conglomerate of people who are all successful in your own right. So talk about some of the other elements, the people that are part of what you do.
Yeah, sure. We have so many great women. There's two different casts. Me and Tamara are the only ones that are on both casts right now. But we are launching Dining Divas California, Dining Divas Texas. So we'll have two other casts there once those launch. The Dining Divas Florida team, it's a national show, but it's about Florida. Then
Mhm.
Destination Divas is all throughout the United States. And now we're traveling internationally as well. We're going to Colombia soon.
There
So
you
that
go.
picture is our Dining Divas Florida crew. So it's Kelly, the blonde to the right. Ingrid is next to her. Then we've got Vice Mayor, Pam Beasley. Then myself, Tamara, Anna Reyes, and Melky Jean. And
Mhm.
so we have it's a very beautiful group of women that are all doing awesome things. Melky is a singer. Anna works in private aviation. Ingrid's in real estate and other sales. And then Kelly is the director of membership for the Tower Club, which is a very prominent club that has 300 locations throughout the United States. So
Yeah, yeah.
all doing big
Well,
things.
yeah, I mean, that's great. What is the young lady who's in aviation? What does she do?
She's in marketing for aviation for
Oh,
jets.
okay. Oh, okay, cool. Um, the concept of it is just fantastic. Dining Divas and then Destination Divas. It's itself. Now you have traveled to Utah, New York. There was one place you traveled to that
California.
I never heard of. Well, you're going to go to California. You're going to go to Beverly Hills.
Well, we did no, we
Uh,
did California, we did Southern California, we did Palm Springs and San Diego for the travel series. We're going
oh,
to
okay,
Beverly Hills for the season 4 because we were nominated for 4 awards out there.
okay. And all right, since you brought it up on that note, what are the 4 awards that you are nominated for?
I can't even remember them off the top of my head. But we are in a category with Andrew Zimmern, which I thought was really cool. And
Oh,
it's at the Taste Awards. So there's 3 judge awards and 1 Voters Choice Award. I think the Voters Choice was best food or food something stylish food or
I
mhm.
think it was food. Yeah, best foodie stylist.
there you go. There she goes.
What was it like when you teamed up with the Travel Channel? That had to be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole process, to get approval. And obviously, we're not selling them our show. I still own my IP. And the reason why that's really important is because we're launching our own network, right? So I don't want to sell my IP because then if they decide to can it next season, I can never do it again. So I've spent 5 years working really hard on this, not to let anyone just take it from me. So
Oh,
um,
really?
yeah. So we
I
had to
didn't
go
know
through
that.
the whole process, and then it's a partnership. So I still own the IP, and I'm able to do what I want with it after it airs.
Wow. So in other words, if you put a show on the Travel Channel, they own it?
Well, I mean, if it becomes a Travel Channel like original series, if you sell them the concept, you know.
Oh,
So
okay.
I have to raise all my own money. I have to produce it, and I have to meet their specs. They send me a whole lot of information on how and how it has to be portrayed for Travel Channel. But they're much more complex than a lot of other networks I've worked with. So,
Mm. What is your favorite indulgent or comfort food?
oh man, it
Jeez.
depends on my mood. I mean, I love Mexican food. I love burgers. I love empanadas. I'm an empanada freak.
Oh, yeah. I knew a guy in Hollywood, Florida that made great empanadas, and I would always gorge myself on that. Tamara, what's your favorite foodie or, comfort food?
That's tough for me too. I think it depends on the mood. We went the other day to a Jamaican restaurant, and we
Ah,
had ackee and saltfish for breakfast, and that
Mm.
was amazing. So, breakfast. I love burgers. I love steak. I love steak, lamb chops. I'm pretty wide open when it comes to food options. It's really hard to pick just one. I love all different Italian food, Mexican food,
All of them.
you name it.
okay.
All the foods, all the foods.
Okay. Well, I'm a Greek boy, and so I sort of when I would visit Greece and my brother who is a Greek Orthodox bishop up in Boston, when we go to Greece or something on vacation, the only thing I can't eat seafood.
Oh
I'm
Uh-huh.
a little
no.
Oh
That's so
yeah, I can have tuna fish if it has onions and the mayonnaise in there, but I can't have shellfish and I can't have this and I can't have that. So I make up for it in certain other ways, and then I have a good friend of mine who he keeps calling the hero, he keeps calling it a gyro. I don't know why, but it's a
Oh,
it's a
I love a
hero.
good setup, but now you just made it remind me of subs. I'm hungry. We're going to eat after this.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, there's a lot of great places to eat at. What you and the what was it? I had it written down here in my notes, and I'm trying to find it because it's important that we get this out there. You had collaborated at one time. Oh, the place that I try to remember is it St. Lucia? Were
Oh
you
yeah,
in St.
that's the one
Lucia?
that she came with me. That's where we went that first time that she was a sponsor.
How
So
was
we
New
did
York?
a partnership with the Napoleon Hill Institute or Napoleon Hill Foundation and Think and Grow Rich Institute at that time when we went
And
there.
how was New York to you? I mean, that had to be fun. I mean, it's the fashion capital of the world as well as the
Well,
food industry does quite well there.
New York, we showcased. We didn't showcase the city at all. We showcased north of the city, which was a really, really special family called the Spaccarellis there, and we went to their Airbnb that they built from the ground up. They're home builders, and they built this beautiful home that they can do weddings at and everything. But that all the pieces, all the historical pieces that they put in the home, and the floors were made from church pews that were like repurposed and like
Oh wow.
wood that was like barn wood that was repurposed. They had bullet shellings that they used like as the little caps on the nails on the floor. I mean, it just everything was so spectacular. They grow their own wine there. We went to Ben Marl Winery, which the other brother owns right down the street, and that is like the number one license for growing grapes in America. So that was a really special treat, and it overlooks the Hudson Valley River, and so it was amazing. It was spectacular. I don't even have spectacular for the
Spectacular.
Spaccarellis. And then they cooked for us. These guys are chefs, and one of the brothers, he actually grows everything from like fresh from scratch. He makes his own. I mean, he has his honeybees. He does just it's crazy. This whole family is. I want to do a whole show on them.
Yeah. And one of the
Well,
daughters is a chef.
you,
I mean, they between what they grow, what they cook, what they create, the vineyards, the winery,
It's
it was an
wild.
amazing
Yeah.
experience.
And then we went down to the Hamptons. We went to Oheka Castle. We did a big celebrity event there. That was fun. Took some private jets and had a big firework display. And then we headed over to Fire Islands, which was really fun. We had a blast at
Yeah.
Fire.
Back in the 60s and 70s, it was quite the hangout. Tommy, let's put up the information if people want to get in touch with Christine Curran from Dining Divas and Dining and Destination Divas, because I sent it all over, the phone numbers and the where to get a hold of. This is the website for Dining Divas. Go on there. It answers a lot of questions for you about what the ladies are doing, what they're up to. And as he goes through that with me, you had said in some of the information you sent me that you were connected with the Women's Entertainment TV Network, and you said it was a marriage made in heaven. What made it so?
Well, WeTV is a really great platform for Dining Divas, kind of like Bravo has the Housewives, WeTV and Dining Divas is a great starting relationship. And we're, like I said, expanding Dining Divas Texas, Dining Divas California. So I'm excited to bring more franchises to the network.
The good thing is that, thank God, you're not like the Housewives of wherever. I watched one of those shows, and I swear to God, they show women at their worst.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't do that. We're Positive Impact TV, but we're very entertaining. We're fast paced. It's always something fun, exciting. We bring celebrities on. We're doing crazy cool things. So
yeah, I had
you have to have positive. It has to be fun, funny, educational, or negative. So we go this way.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine. She did 1 year or maybe 2 years of Housewives of Beverly Hills. Elaine Davidson. She's on The Young and the Restless. And I spoke to her after she quit, and I said, "Well, that was an experience." She said, "I will never do anything like that again as long as I live." She said,
I hear that from all the housewives, because I've interviewed a lot of them over the years, and they all say the same thing. They're like, it's not fun. It's stressful.
It is. It is. Andy, I understand, according to what I'm told, is not that much fun to work with. He really is. He's like the cake boss. He's not that much fun to work with, although he makes great cakes. I know, because I've been in his shop at Hoboken. It's absolutely fabulous. But what was it about your connection? I mean, a lot of people are probably wondering, how do you make the connections to the ME network, for instance, or the Travel Channel? How do your connections come about?
I've been in the business a long time. It's really who you know, and it takes time to build that database of people. And then people are really funny in this business, right? They don't want to just connect you unless they know that you're going to make them look good. So it's a lot of relationship building to get to this level,
Yeah, yeah. Before they'll let you do anything, they have to trust you and know you. What's an average day like for you, Christine, and tomorrow? What's the average? I mean, you're up at what, 5 o'clock in the morning, and you're on your way, or what?
I'm up at like 6, like 6 o'clock. But there's no 2 days that are the same, and it's just like we're either filming or we're taking calls and Zoom calls and meetings, and it's 5% filming, 95% work. There's a lot that goes into it. From keeping all of the, I have to, tell the story. So my editor sends me the videos like with like one camera angle, and I have to listen through, and I have to cut the storyline out to meet our time schedules, and then I send it back to him, and then he integrates the different camera looks and the sound and audio and color correction, and then so there's all that process, right, which takes a lot of time. The websites, keeping up with social media, keeping up with all the marketing efforts, press releases. There's just so much work that goes into these. So like when you see me just having all this fun, trust me, I worked really hard for all that fun.
Oh yeah. I mean, how many times did I call you about this show?
Yeah, like 4. We talked like 4 times.
I mean, I've got to, even if I know the people that are coming on the show. Ray Abruzzo from The Sopranos is on with me all the time, and Ray and I go back to our days when Stephen Boschko gave us both a big shot in LA. I still have to go over things with Ray that he does or he doesn't want to talk about, or but yeah, I have to. My cat has come on the scene. She's over here now. She's
Aww.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, Princess she considers herself part of the cast. What's the one thing about you, Christina and Tamara, that if people found out, not anything devious or anything like that, but one thing they'd be surprised if they knew about you both?
You want to go first? I'm like, let me think.
Probably for me, I would say to know that I was a tomboy. I actually had a skateboard when I was younger. And I
Yeah.
don't think I'm skateboard, that doesn't yell out who I am right now. But that was a very fun part of my life when I was in that in
Yeah.
that phase.
Oh, okay.
I had my daughter at 17, so she's 20 now. I had her a month before I turned 18, so I was 17 and pregnant, and I was in college. So I actually tried to plan my pregnancy so I wouldn't miss my final exams, which did not work out. I had her I had her over Thanksgiving break. I got induced, had her, and then I never made it back for my final exam. So I ended up losing. I was full paid scholarship student, and I lost all my scholarships. Had to go back to school again on Pell Grants. And that's when I was telling you, I was in college one day going, I don't know what I'm doing with this. I'm going to raise a child for my next, however many decades. Like, I want to go do something fun and make a lot of
Yeah.
money and then also raise my daughter. You know what I mean? Like, that's my job, is raise my kid. And I want to make
Yeah.
money in a fun way. And that's really was my inspiration behind, creating my companies and doing the things I've done.
Well, it's funny you say that. I went to the University of Miami along with a few other institutions along the way. A lot of the people that I went to school with, I know two guys in particular were studying to be doctors. They graduated from the U, they got their internships, their residencies out of the way, and they suddenly quit. They opened up landscaping businesses in South Florida. They're both retired now. Now they're not multi millionaires, but they're married, children, happy, probably
Having a good
happier
old
than they
time,
would.
because landscaping's a lot easier than being a doctor.
Well, it is and it isn't. I mean, it has its ups and downs. Everything has
Right.
its plus and minuses. I mean, let's be perfectly honest with you. This business that I'm in and you're in, it has its ups and downs, and the downs can be really down, and the ups can be super high. I mean, you feel like you're, at the top of the Empire State Building. But I mean, I've been very, very fortunate in mine. But yeah, they're a lot happier. And I know my nephew, who is with Gray and Robinson, large law firm in Miami, one of the
Yeah,
largest
big
in all
one.
of Florida. He didn't know what he wanted to do. He came out to Las Vegas and he wanted to go to work in one of the hotels. And I said, "No, you don't. You don't want to be out here. Go on back home." So he went back home. He took the bar exam, graduated top of his class in the bar exam. Now he's a partner at Gray and Robinson. He makes more money. His father told me the other day what his partnership check is. And I said, "You and I didn't even make that our first year out of college to begin with together." And he said, "Yeah, no kidding." So I mean, every 7 or 10 years, people change, their minds change, they grow a little bit.
They say every cell on your body has been replaced every 7 years. So you're a whole new
Yeah.
person every 7 years.
And I also read somewhere where some marriages only last 7 or 8 years because who you thought that person was over here isn't necessarily who they are now.
Oh, yeah, you either grow together or you grow apart, right?
Yeah. Now, I was married for 9 years, but she couldn't take the show business life, and I was on the road all the time, so it happened. Speaking of which, when I was living in Las Vegas, I got to know Robin Leach pretty well because that's where he lived. And he and I talked one day about the lifestyles of the rich and famous. And you have interviewed a lot of celebrities. You've interviewed a lot of people in the food business that are celebrities, chefs, etc. What do you think? And I'll tell you what he thought later. But what do you think is the common denominator that runs through celebrities that you've interviewed? What is the one thread that keeps them moving forward, or the famous chefs that keep them moving forward? That one little thing, that one string that keeps them moving.
I mean, everybody I've talked to has a somewhat similar story, unless they were like born into entertainment, but they've all been through like some crazy stuff, like slept on someone's couch, or you slept in their car, or like it was something really insanely crazy that they've been through. But that's when, instead of, most people would give up and go get a normal job at that point, the reason why they got to where they got to is because they pushed through that point. And
Yeah.
that's usually tends to be a similar story that I get a lot.
Tamara, what is it like in the real estate business? I mean, I know lately it's been pretty good. I mean, just try to go rent something in Miami or Broward County. And, I mean, because like I said, when I owned my condo in Dania, it was $37,000 that I paid for it. Okay.
Yeah.
That's that's what
Those
the
days
rent
are
is a
no
month.
longer here.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say that those were the good old days.
Yeah.
Yeah, So it is. It's a very, very different ball game. I started my vacation rental management company in 2018, and like Christine said, there's just ups and downs, right? So I've seen some really amazing years
Mhm.
in both real estate and vacation rental, and then I've seen some really tough years. This we're back in a really great space as far as being a real estate agent is concerned. There's a lot of activity going on now, whereas last year it was kind of quiet. Um, I have such a unique blend of things that I do. It's really interesting. Sometimes during the day, you mentioned how do we start our days. So sometimes I have, 2 hours of real estate stuff, and then I've got 3 hours of TV stuff, and then I've got to switch it back and go back into vacation rentals and then go back into clients. So I can just pivot. But for me, I really love real estate. I really love food. So these are my passions. They're fun for me. And I understand sometimes they're not going to be as
Mhm.
it's not always fun. Sometimes I do want to cry and like, oh geez.
Well, yeah. Yeah,
But
are things starting to level off real quick? I mean, I don't want to get off the tangent of what we're talking about with Christine and you as far as dining divas and destination divas, but like my rent went up here $15 a month more this year, which was wow. The last
yeah.
couple of years they've gone up 200, 250 each year. Are things starting to level off a little bit, and not only in the commercial real estate business, but also when it comes to apartments and condos, etc.
Yeah, you are seeing some reductions, and I think more realistically affordable rates for both, purchasing and renting in residential and in commercial.
Hmm.
We got a little crazy for a little while, during
Hmm.
COVID
Hmm.
and a few years after, everything just went bananas. And now we're kind of stabilizing and getting back into, it's not going to go back to the $37,000 condo. That's not, unfortunately, but we are getting back into, I think, more reasonable rates and more reasonable increases. And I
Hmm.
do feel like many realtors are speaking with their clients, and we're trying to reasonably price stuff. We don't want to get real crazy and then we can't sell it or rent it, right? We also don't want to go so far under. So I feel like, from a realtor perspective, I feel like we're helping to educate and helping people to understand this is kind of where we're at. We may see a
Yeah.
little bit of fluctuations, but I don't feel like we're going to get that crazy level again. No one can
No.
afford that, right?
Hopefully.
No. I mean, it was getting to the point where a husband and wife with a couple of kids, two really good jobs, bringing in $75,000, $80,000, $100,000 a year, couldn't afford anything decent in Miami, from what I understand, because my business partner Rick lives down there in the Kendall area, where my brother also lives, and it was getting very expensive. I remember my first apartment in Miami. My half of the rent was $350.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember my first apartment, which was just outside of Beverly Hills on Melrose Boulevard. Was I think Grace and I paid $800 for a one-bedroom apartment. Now that apartment goes for $3,500 a month.
Easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Getting back to the Dining Divas with Christine Crone and with Tamara. Tamara, what is your last name?
Davis, Tamara Davis.
Oh, say hello to Sammy for me. No, I'm only kidding. I knew that's one of the great joys.
Jewish too.
That was one of the great joys of having my uncle, who he was. One day he called me up. He said, "You want to go to have lunch with me at the Fountain Blue?" And I said, "Sure." I didn't ask any questions. We went down to Fountain Blue. Didn't ask him who we're having lunch with, and who's waiting to have lunch with my uncle: Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, and Sammy Davis Jr. That's how I got to meet Dean and know his sons. And when I moved out to LA, every Christmas and Easter and holidays, I was invited to Dean's house for Christmas and everything. They were the nicest people. As a matter of fact, Jeannie, his wife, Dean's wife, was an Orange Bowl queen at one time.
Oh, wow. That's taking
Yeah.
it back.
Yeah, what a neat experience.
Yeah. Oh, I've had a wonderful life. I just wish the money had always followed me with me, but it's been up and down there too. Where is the one place that if the God came to you and said, you can live here for the rest of your life, you can do one thing for the rest of your life, where's the one place, one country, one city that you'd want to live for the rest of your life? And if you had to pick one thing, Christine, now you couldn't be a producer or a director. You could either be an MC or a producer or a director. What's the one thing you'd like to do? And what's the one place and one restaurant you want to eat in all the time?
Well, funny enough, my retirement plan is to buy a little property on either the intercoastal or the beachfront somewhere here in East South Florida, and I want to live on the top of it in the penthouse, and I want to have a restaurant underneath, so I can just go downstairs and eat, go out on the beach, go on the water, and make money renting out the other property. So that's been my retirement plan since I think before I was old enough to even think about retirement plans.
What about you,
So
Tamara?
it is a very similar plan. I have to be by the water, by the beach, and so far, if I have to just pick one place, it's going to be Fort Lauderdale.
Mhm.
That is a very special place to me. I've been in the area for 23 years, and it has my heart, and nothing else has been able to capture it in that way yet.
Yeah. 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 I remember when it was spring break time there, but then no longer. I mean,
No,
absolutely
yeah.
no longer.
Thankfully, we have a nice,
It
fairly
was, it was, it was pretty nice during spring break. I mean, for a 15, 16-year-old young lad looking at all the college girls running around in their little, it was a lot of fun for me. And I had 7 brothers and 2 sisters. So it was like,
Oh, wow.
okay, well, one of them would always drive me to the beach just to get me out of their hair. Oh, come on, drive me to the beach, drive me to the beach, drive me to the beach, drive me to the beach. You have, Christine, a lot of irons in the fire on a daily basis. I know you're growing your company as things are moving forward. Where are you going next? I know you said something about dining dudes. Was that just something? I mean, is that a reality? Is that and
So
do
yeah,
you have?
it's coming, and these projects are really big. So you put things in the ground and then it takes 2 to 3 years to see them to fruition.
Mhm.
A lot of people want like now, and nothing happens now. We're in the middle of our first raise for the Dining Empire. The Empire network has already been built. The framework's done. We just haven't launched it yet. So as soon as that launches, the Dining Dudes will definitely be coming not too long after we get kind of settled with the launch. So I expect to see something with that by the end of 2024.
And what does a dining dude have to have for qualifications to be part of what it is you do?
It's very similar to the divas, when it comes to collaboration mindset, diversity, just being, self-development. Like it's really important for my entire company to that everybody has similar, traits like that, and that are, looking to, because the number one thing that ruins every business and project are people. And the number one thing that builds every project and business are people. So the people
Mhm.
that are in your organization are very, very important. You get one bad seed, and it's for somebody who's booked over 800 people. And I work with hundreds of people every week, and it's like personalities and things. Like it's just, so you get one bad person in your group, in your organization, and they can tear the organization apart from the inside out. And so I'm just really, really big on that. Like I just want to make sure everybody is in the right mindset,
Mhm.
working together, our collaborators. And that's just a really important piece for me.
You know what I think the word you're looking for? It's ego.
yes,
If you
yeah,
if you get the wrong ego, it can destroy the set of anything. It can destroy a play. It can destroy a business. Someone who thinks more of themselves than are there. You see it in sports all the time,
yeah.
and you see it on the sets of movies, or you hear about it from my good friend Harvey Levin on TMZ. I mean, there's nothing that destroys anything more than someone's ego, even in a restaurant. I mean, have you ever been to a restaurant where you hear the servers bickering with each other because they're not getting enough tables, or this one got more tables? It's
It
all
makes the
ego.
whole restaurant look bad. It makes the whole vibe, it brings down the energy. So
Yeah, yeah. What kind of advice? Uh, I was going to do this last, but I'm going to do it now. Looking back on your career, and tomorrow, I want you to join in on this too. I love your hair, by the way.
Thank you.
yeah.
I mean, I think I got similar hair, do I not? I think I have similar.
Very
This
simple.
this I this is all earned from being married for 9 years. It's all no.
I gotta
if you've
pay.
been around, if you've ever been around Greek men, they either go bald or they go gray. You know, it's one of the above. Looking back on your career when you got started, getting right out of college, booking models, being an MC, everything you've learned, because I'm sure you've had those days, and we talked about it briefly, where you know, it was like a pity party for yourself, feeling sorry for yourself for 2 minutes, and then you kicked yourself in the butt and you got going again. What advice would you give the young Christine on the Christine of today, or anybody else out there watching, to help them move forward and learn from the few mistakes that you have made?
Always take a pause. Always take a pause. Like I'm a very empathic person, so I can be very emotional, and I'm a woman, right? And I'm a mom, so all the emotions, right? But people do things to you because they see a lot in you, and they come at you sideways, and men, women, all kinds of crazy things that I've experienced, and they
Yeah.
draw an emotion out of you, and you got to take a pause and process what's happening and not react. And sometimes
Mhm.
a long pause, sometimes a whole week of pauses, and thinking through all the scenarios that can play out for you, because your reaction to people is literally that is who you are. So you don't want to react. You want to always take a pause and think through it. And a lot of times when you do, you'll come up with a better solution, or a better way to approach a situation that could possibly make a big change in an outcome. So it's
Yeah.
hard when you're dealing with a lot of people and you're in a business where everybody in this business, everybody, you see a side of people that you won't see everywhere else, because everybody is out for that limelight, out for, and for me, it's business. Like this, everybody else, it's like, oh, TV, shiny penny. I call it the
Yeah.
shiny penny effect. I've been doing it for so long. It's my company, it's my business, right? But
Yeah.
I get it. And so you have to just really take a pause and tread lightly on how you react to people.
Yeah. I think that that's probably really, really great advice, because if you don't stop and take a pause, sometimes you forge forward and you don't realize what you're doing. And sometimes what you're doing, you need to change and keep moving forward. How has it been for you, Tamara? I mean, what advice would you give the young Tamara?
Definitely something that I didn't have when I was younger, and it's I've really learned to harness this skill, and it's the staying focused on the things that you can control. And sometimes it's
Mhm.
people or things, or something has happened, and it gets you totally into a different space that's not helpful. It's not going to move you ahead, and so just really staying laser focused. What can I do today? Are these things helpful to me? And sometimes it's things, sometimes it's people, sometimes it's family. Some stuff has to be moved away, or just moved to,
The back burner.
not as close to you, right? So that you can maintain your focus and what's really important for you. So I would definitely say, definitely what Christine said, take a pause, but also just I guess recalibrate your focus. Always make sure it is putting you in spaces and around people that are helpful to where you want to be, your end goal.
How much time do you take during the week for yourself, Christine, and Tamara, with your family? You have a daughter, Christine, and Tamara. I don't know if you're married, single, what have you, the case may be. She's shaking her head. She's going, no, I'm not doing that. But how much time do you have for yourself? Because there has to be, I learned this lesson really young as a young actor in LA. No matter how much time you put into the business, which is 24/7 between auditions and here and here and here and here, you have to find time for yourself. How do you manage to do that with your busy schedule being what it is? And are you able to accomplish that a lot of the time or just some of the time?
Well, the beautiful thing is I can schedule whatever I want, however I want to, right? So I make sure I work out. That's very important. I have to be in the gym or running on the beach. If I don't get that's my clarity. Like, it gives me focus. Like, I need to, and I actually, a lot of things get done in my brain during that time. I come up with a lot
Mhm.
of ideas, and I'm pulling out my phone and writing down a note, because it just gives me so much clarity. But so that's really important. So I either do that early in the morning when I first wake up before everybody's getting their day started, or I'll go as my closer to the day, like in the late afternoon. I'll go kind of close out my day with a workout. And then, giving time to my daughter and giving time to the person I'm dating and giving time to my family, my mother, I fit them in and I ask them what's good for you. And then I block that time off because I get to schedule my schedule however I want. So I try to be mindful of other people's schedules and, work from there.
How about you, Tamara?
Yeah. So thankfully, being an entrepreneur does allow me that same freedom and flexibility. So definitely, tomorrow time is always in the schedule. It's, be it time to meditate, pray. I enjoy running and walking along the beach as well. And so those things are very important, and that's scheduled in each day. And then with family, I'm single, so I get to spend my time freely as I wish. But with family, I'm very cautious in that we don't. My family doesn't live here in South Florida.
Oh,
Everyone's kind of all over, but I'm
mhm.
really good with making sure I'm putting in phone calls and texting and just communicating. So always keeping that communication open. That's very
Mhm.
important. On both ends. I want to know how everyone is. I want everyone to know how I am. And I want us to just have those lines of communication open. And so
Right.
having, the control of my own schedule, I kind of get to do those things whenever I want. I like Christine, I work around everyone else's schedule because they don't have as much flexibility.
Yeah. Yeah. So I take it you're not from South Florida originally then?
No, no, I'm from California. I've been here 23 years.
How
Yes.
long? Where in California?
I'm from Sacramento, born and
Ah,
raised,
yes.
yeah, and then graduated from Chico State. And after I left college, I lived in Ventura for a little while,
Mm. Yeah.
Santa
Yeah.
Barbara area, and then after that, I moved to Fort Lauderdale, and that's kind of all she wrote. I'm
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
Cali Floridian.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when I was growing up, I'm originally from Pennsylvania, but with my dad being based there with Eastern, my mom had a decorating business, and of course, all my siblings and I. One of our dearest friends in the whole world, who, by the way, my buddy Will Schreiner lives in Fort Lauderdale, not far from where I think you guys are probably located. And Will is his brother, Ken Schreiner from General Hospital. He played Scotty Baldwin. So
Oh,
you
yeah.
may be familiar with it. As a matter of fact, you know a member of my family, both of you, and you don't know me all that well.
Who's that?
You ever watch Full House?
Oh, yeah.
DJ's boyfriend, Steve?
Oh, really?
It's my nephew. That's my
Oh,
nephew.
wow.
He
Okay.
was also the original voice of Aladdin. He worked with Robin Williams, who was instrumental in a lot of my success in LA. But
Wow.
one of our dear friends who grew up in Fort Lauderdale with Will and I and my brother and everything was Fraser Crane. Yeah. Kelsey Grammer. He was a surfer.
Oh, fun.
Wow.
He was a surfer boy until something tragic happened. Then he moved to New York. But there are a lot of famous people that are from the Fort Lauderdale area uh, growing up. And even during the wild years when Bachelor's 3 was open and everything, they were coming in, dozens of them. And they're all retired there now, most of them. So I had a wonderful time growing up there. Um, who is Christine Curran? Who is she down deep inside when she's all by herself in a room and she's not reading a book? She's just sitting there looking out at the sun rising, sun setting. Who are you?
I'm a very free-spirited woman. I'm a creator, I've been creating my whole life in so many different ways. And I just love to come up with concepts that I'm passionate about and that inspire me. And then I like to actually see them to fruition and monetize them and be able to partner with other people who are passionate like me to see things to the end.
All right, Tommy, put how people can get a hold of Christina, her email address, please. And also put up there the Dining Divas, because I think that's kind of an open door to the rest of your empire. And believe it or not, the hour has gone by. And I want to thank both of you so very, very much for joining us here on Main Street. It has been a kick. I hope we're able to do this again at some point down the road, because I'd love to find out how many awards you won anyway out in Beverly Hills, which was a hangout for me for a number of years. I just want to thank you all. We're going to conclude the show, and then we'll come back. We'll talk after the show here for just a couple of minutes if you have it. But right now, what I'd like to do is just say thank you to all of you out there for joining us here on Main Street. I want to thank you for always tuning into all these episodes. We've got some great ones coming up for you. But take care of yourself. And until next time, please take care of yourselves and each other.